Greetings loyal subscribers and honoured guests. So it's time for our regular First Look Fridays episode for this week. My Heaven Dust collection hasn't arrived yet. I've had to record this on the Tuesday before that you're seeing this. So it's too soon for them to have really sent that out anyway, to be honest. So I have a few more games that I've already recorded when I played through a bunch of stuff a while ago, and this week it's a game called Arcade Spirits, which is a visual novel. This is the Switch version that I'll be showing you. It's not a new game by any means, it's at least 3 years old, maybe even older, but it's brand new to me. And so I thought I'd check it out for a bit. So let's get on with it. Yeah, so like I was saying, this is a visual novel. Apparently there are sort of romantic comedy elements to it, but sort of at the beginning when you're setting things up a little bit, it does ask you whether you want to focus on romance or not, and I think I said not really, so I don't know if that will focus into the story, what I've told the game that I prefer, or if it all happens either way, so that will be interesting to see later on. But anyway, let's move on. So you get to create your own character from a selection of options here, so which I did. I sort of just created a generic Caucasian male to reflect the fact that I am a generic Caucasian male. I think by default you were a female character, but I did change that. And I sort of made it reflect myself really, as much as possible. There aren't many clothing options, it's really the same hoodie, but as I am wearing a blue hoodie today, it seems quite appropriate that the main character's wearing a blue hoodie with the same sort of hand pouch that mine's got. So yeah, not too bad. And then I changed the default name. It took me a while to think of anything sort of jokey to put in there, so I just ended up calling him Capcom, as you'll see. Cap for the first name, and then Com for the surname. And then there's a bit of setup after this. You're basically a sort of unemployed bum, really. You spend your days lounging around at home, not really doing anything, and your roommate is concerned for your well-being, so they recommend that you install this app that's supposed to sort of coach you in elements of life and help you get a job and potentially romance, and yeah, so that's what you do. I'll just have a scroll forward a little bit. Yeah, so this is your flat and your flatmate, who's obviously rather obsessed with the colour pink, but never mind. Yeah, I think you've just recently lost your job is the setup. And she's upset on your behalf, and you're not really that bothered. And apparently that's the third job that you've lost, but this one you actually liked doing, so it's a bit of a bummer. In this game, it's another one where unfortunately the sound hasn't recorded properly, so I haven't got any of the sound from when I was playing, but there are there is the occasional line of voiced dialogue, but it's not all the way through. Your responses aren't voiced, obviously, to reflect the fact that you're playing the role of your character, but often parts of lines or the first line that people respond back to you are voiced, but not everything that they said. It's a bit of a cheap way of doing things, really, so that they don't have to record the whole script. I think I would have preferred everything to have been recorded, because it just helps me become immersed more, I think, and learn to like the characters more, and because there is a lot of reading in these games by their very nature, of course. So, and yeah, I have played a few visual novels before. Nothing like this one, really. I've played a detective one, and I'm not sure whether you'd call Hotel Dusk on the DS a visual novel. That's sort of a detective thing as well. I think it is, really. It's the same sort of thing, but you do have sort of direct control of over your character between the dialogue sequences more. So I'm just going to scroll forward to, yeah, so here's the app. And one of the interesting things this game does do over other things is sort of give you a score based on your responses for certain criteria, and yeah, so it'll probably show you the criteria in a minute on the screen. If not, I'll find it. Yeah, and there's an ongoing joke about pizza bagels all the way through this first chapter, which I did find mildly amusing. So yeah, it's quite a well written game, really. Yeah, I was curious enough to pick this up. I had a bunch of credits for CEX a few months ago, and I just browsed through the Nintendo Switch games on their site and chose a handful, and this was among them, because I had heard good things about this game, actually, and the sequel, The New Challengers. So it made me curious, and I don't think it was too expensive. I think it was about £12 maybe to pick up a pre-owned copy from CEX. So yeah, I decided to go ahead and do that. Yeah, it's been quite good fun so far. I did look up how long this takes to beat, but I can't remember what the answer was now. I think it's somewhere in the region of 8 hours, I think. Oh, here's the things, the responses that you can give back. So you can do quirky, responsive, sarcasm and snarkiness. Sincere, honest, logical responses are steady. Kindly, compassionate and empathetic, and gentle in nature. Gutsy, you just go with your guts, take risks, act instinctively. And then there's a basic option, but a balanced and neutral response. And yeah, she says at some point, you might think basic is bad. It's being basic is a bad thing in these days, but sometimes you want to be neutral in some of your responses. So yeah, you do have the opportunity for that sometimes. And then it asks you how you feel about dad jokes, and then you respond basically. So I did the jokey response. I'm going to scroll forward a bit because this is all sort of still tutorial to the actual arcade itself, because as the name suggests, this whole game revolves around the fact that you get a job in an arcade, and it's supposed to magically sort of set your life right. And this first chapter is basically gradually meeting all the people who first work in this arcade, such as this old lady who owns it, and then you meet all the regulars who hang out at the arcade as well. There's a sort of Billy Mitchell type guy who is always playing the sort of Pac-Man clone to try and earn a world record, and there's a esports champion who is practicing their sort of Street Fighter game, and then there's a kids party that happens later in the episode, and you have to decide which sort of issues you deal with in a particular order and how you respond to them, essentially. And and you can't do everything, so you have to prioritise which ones you go and assist with. And I ended up helping a lost kid first, and then a bullied kid, I think, which left the mechanic who was working on one of the machines undefended, and the kids got past her and put chewing gum in the coin slots, so that wasn't very good. But that's how I prioritised that part of the game. So you get your job interview first, and then your responses sort of govern and shape your character. And she asks you what sort of dinosaur you are and stuff. Well, let's watch the job interview, and then I'll skip ahead for a little while and take a look at some of the other characters that you meet, and then I'll probably wrap it up after that. So I don't know if I'm taking a break here or something. Oh no, it's not. No, I'm not. So Gavin, I think Gavin was the previous. I can't remember if he was the previous member of staff. He got fired. He's her grandson, I think, but he was lazy, so she removed him from the position and hired a proper person. If you were a dinosaur, what dinosaur would you be? Can't remember how I answered, but let's see what the options were. So I chose pterodactyl, and then there was a few more questions. What's your favourite snack? Oh yeah, I think so there's the recurring pizza bagel joke. But what do I go with? I went with this jokey answer again. Although I don't know why tacos aren't considered real food in the game's opinion, but that's what they say. What assets can you bring to the team during an inevitable zombie apocalypse? I think I said I'd get eaten day one, which is the truth. Oh no, I went with the first one, but in reality I'd get eaten day one probably, which is better than becoming a zombie yourself, I think. Anyway. And then there's the final question. which is why am I here. And my response was, oh no, I didn't respond. So then she shows you around the arcade and explains what you'll be doing, which is mostly being behind the counter at the ticket redemption place, handing out soft toys and other things. So I'm going to skip ahead now. I think this is this? No, I can't remember who that is. He's the other attendant who works at the arcade. Oh, it is Gavin. I thought no. So Gavin is the other attendant, but the grandson, don't know if you ever told his name. He was fired. So there's Gavin, and then this is the mechanic girl, Naomi, who's in charge of making sure the machines are in working order. Let's keep going. I think that might be all the characters that you meet so far in terms of your co-workers, but there'll probably be more, I'm guessing. Oh no, there's this girl as well, who's Ashley, who dresses up as the Funflex Flamingo and stands outside. So there's those four that you meet, and then so this is the sort of Pac-Man world record holder who's standing there constantly playing. Mr. Moopy Magic Maze is what they call Pac-Man in this game, which is a rather silly name, but you can see it is kind of partially based on Pac-Man. They obviously can't use the real games in this. He's called Percy, and yet then this lady is the sort of esports champion, and this game that she's playing is sounds a bit like a Dota game where you defend your lanes and stop people from getting through. And her name is Queen Bee. That's right. Yeah. And then, is there any more people that you meet in this opening chapter? Oh yeah, there's the dance game guy, Teo. So you get introduced to a whole bunch of characters in this first hour, and I'd imagine they get fleshed out more as you go on, and maybe you meet some more, and then you get put in charge of the kids' party after this. But I think I'll probably do it for this week. I don't need to really show much more. I am quite enjoying it. It's very different from my typical sort of style of game that I would play for fun, but that's not to say that I wouldn't finish it. So, and then the sequel is obviously a bit newer. I think it's about a year old, maybe, and it's more expensive at the moment. So I won't be picking that up just yet. But along the line, if the sequel becomes quite cheap, I'll probably try that as well. There is another game called Arcade Paradise, which is nothing like these. That's where you actually sort of run a laundromat and set up an arcade out the back, and you actually can play the arcade games in that. So don't get the two mixed up. Arcade Spirits is the visual novel, and Arcade Paradise is the business management thing. So yeah, anyway, that brings me to the end of another episode of First Look Fridays. So thank you very much for watching. We'll see if next week is the Heaven Dust collection, or if I'll be doing something else. But yeah, come back for that next time. And in the meantime, take care.